So when you're asked to graph linear systems, what you're doing is you've got two or more lines and you're trying to graph them on the same graph. So it's just a matter of being able to graph two lines. And so here I have, let's see, here I have two lines and I'm going to graph both of them. And so you're going to do this on graph paper. It's not recommended to do this without graph paper because you really need those grids to do this properly and to find your answer. But what you would do is you'd find your y-intercept and you'd graph with your slope. So up 1 over 2, up 1 over 2, up 1 over 2. And really we don't know how far we need to graph in either direction until we graph them both. So at this point I'm going to stop and just draw that in. Okay, the other one, I go up to 5, and my slope is down 3. I'm going to have to go 3 over 1, so down 1, 2, 3, and over 1. And basically what we're looking at when we do this is where do the two lines intersect? And so you can see we've graphed enough that they actually intersect. And this is why we need to have graph paper, because you want to know what is that point right there. And so if this point is on the grid, then you can easily say, you know what, my answer is the x value and the y value, where they intersect right there. Okay? If they don't intersect on the grid, then you almost have to guess, which is why graphing isn't always the best way to do this, but sometimes it's the only choice you have. For various reasons. So graphing sometimes is the way you have to go, or maybe you want a visual of it so you can see where it crosses. But what's happening is where those cross, that little spot right there where the two cross, they have this x and y value that if you take that x value and plug it in for the x's in both equations, and you take the y value and you plug it in for both the y values, it's going to work in both of them. It's the only point, in fact, that will work in both equations. If I were to pick another point on a line, let's say I picked this point on the line and I plugged it in, it's only going to work for the top equation. On the bottom equation, it's not going to work because guess what? That point is not on that line. And so that point's not going to work. So the only point that will work for both of them is where they intersect. So that would be our answer. And you need to make sure to actually label your answer and say, hey, that's what I want to say is my answer.